Now, despite Hamilton beating Max Verstappen on the fast lap on the Hungarian qualifiers, the terrible start meant he would miss out on the podium on the track on which he had 8 wins, which basically means he races in his own backyard. This turn of events, while humbling Hamilton, as he admitted on team radio, also made him fire shots towards his team and how they need to move forward. But if Russell managed to finish from P18 to P6, how was the car bad for Hamilton? And is this a bigger problem than it looks to be? Hamilton's great qualifying session was overshadowed by his terrible start at Sunday's race and a bad race in general. Beating Max Verstappen in a fast lap, especially this season, is a very good achievement in of itself. But does Lewis Hamilton's performance in qualifying prove that he has a tendency of really performing in Q3 when he goes for pole position, but not in races? Well, Lewis is generally quite good at making it when it counts. He can have moments in qualifying when he doesn't deliver, but more often than not, he does get the job done when the pressure is on in Q3. Obviously, in the last 18 months, he doesn't have a car which gets him into pole when he does deliver. But in this situation, he did manage to get on pole, but a factor which we have to take into consideration is how quick he is on this circuit, as he loves the Hungaroring and he's capable of doing special things here. Just listening to him talking after qualifying, the way he approached that lap, and even a couple of team principals observed that Lewis was really leaning on the car and throwing it around and taking that little bit of extra risk. So you could really see that he's absolutely on it, willing to push it to the limit, and I just don't think we see that very often, which is probably why sometimes you either see him mess up in Q3 or do a good job, and it just doesn't maybe get credits for it because he doesn't end in a great position. He even admitted after the race that his performance in Formula 1 has been subpar for more than a year, following his 4th place finish at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Despite being a 7-time champion, Hamilton encountered difficulties during the initial phase of the race, with his W14 car not being perfectly balanced. The car's performance did improve as the race went on, however he missed beating Sergio Perez for a podium finish by a mere 1.5 seconds. "I haven't been at my best for over a year," Hamilton told media, including Racing News 365, after a 6th top 4 result of the season. "I felt like qualifying was me getting back in the game. We may have been able to finish 3rd with a better start. Max just got a better start than me, and I got a bit of a wheel spin and was a bit compromised after that. We were just too slow in the first 2 stints, the balance wasn't good and the car was just slow. But then the balance picked up a lot at the end and all of a sudden I was able to apply the pressure on Perez, but it was too late." Now, the Briton stated that they're not the quickest car on the grid and they have to improve a lot, but he's proud of what the team is doing so far. "It's obvious that we're not the quickest, we don't have the quickest car, and I'm very proud of the job that we did in qualifying to get pole position and outperform the world champion and the other guy that's quicker and the other 2 cars, the McLarens, that were quicker than us. It's just the reality, we're not fast enough. I was told the strategy this morning that I would be 5 or 6 tenths slower than the Red Bull. So the fight was not with Max, and I was hoping that we could fight the McLarens." Hamilton's bad race and great qualifiers were the complete opposite of Russell's weekend, where he managed to finish P6 after a horrible Saturday in which we saw shades of Perez in the young Briton, not being able to get out of Q1. This leaves Mercedes in a sort of average position on the grid, because when you have this big of a contrast between the performances of the 2 drivers, the problem might not be in them after all. This was in some way echoed by Hamilton, who revealed that he's called for Mercedes to focus their development direction around the floor area, like Red Bull have. "We generally have a bigger wing than some of the others, like the Red Bulls for example, but they seem to have more downforce from their floor," he said. "We have a lot of work to do. I'm like a broken record. I've just got to keep telling the guys we need to go in that direction. I would like to see that either with this year's car or next year." Going the direction of Red Bull is the obvious direction and doesn't necessarily mean they're copying them, as that's impossible. You can adapt the same concept while at the same time implementing your own ideas into it, and the Red Bull way is the right way, as is evident by how Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren all failed in their ways of doing things. You now have 2 clear success stories in Aston Martin and McLaren going the direction of Red Bull, so you have to be really stubborn in a way by now not to want to go this way as well. Wolff also confirmed Hamilton's statement, much to the detriment of the fans, stating the unpredictability of the W14 despite the fact that Lewis was on pole. "Clearly we have a package today that was competitive and Lewis just drove an amazing lap and put it on pole. I think that's something we can be really proud of," Wolff said after qualifying. "The biggest weakness we have in the car is not a lack of downforce, it's that the car is unpredictable. The drivers never have the confidence to really push it hard in qualifying, and I think the car they had today was something that gave confidence and allowed them to push without thinking that it could step out of the entrance or exit of the corner. I think this is the main area we need to work on, giving them a car balance that's more predictable. Well, the first issue that the Silver Arrows need to address is the inconsistency of their vehicle, which might be hindering Mercedes from maximizing their car's performance. Team principal Toto Wolff has pointed out that the new ground effect cars are generally inconsistent, although the Red Bull and McLaren cars appear to be exceptions, exhibiting steady performance across diverse tracks. Despite having planned upgrades scheduled for races both pre- and post-summer break, Mercedes is not expecting a significant performance leap immediately. Hamilton expressed caution when discussing potential improvements, and Mercedes is facing a complex challenge in unlocking the downforce necessary to narrow the gap with Red Bull. As he explained, intricate airflows and aerodynamics require time and understanding to optimize. The new rules and tools created to comprehend the flow structures under the car further complicate the process. Aerodynamics is a crucial component of modern Formula One cars and is at the forefront of every decision the team makes, whether it pertains to upgrades or incremental changes. However, the team's trackside engineering director, Andrew Chauvelin, pointed out that the new cost cap rules, in conjunction with the intricate aerodynamics, are making it difficult for Mercedes to catch up to Red Bull. The 7-time champion, who boasts an impressive record of 103 career wins, hasn't added to this tally since the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. However, it's important to note that he hasn't had many legitimate opportunities to increase this count. Post the 2021 season, Mercedes has only celebrated one victory, which occurred at the 2022 Sao Paulo GP when George Russell crossed the finish line first, followed by Hamilton in a Mercedes 1-2 finish. Yet the ground effect era of Formula One thus far has mainly seen Mercedes struggle to reach their previous dominant level. The disappointments of 2022 have carried over into 2023, with Mercedes failing to allow Hamilton or Russell to mount a serious title challenge. During this rough patch, there have been moments when Hamilton has appeared worn down by the ongoing challenges. However, any opportunity for success reignites his potential, as his performance at the Hungary Grand Prix demonstrated, proving he can still achieve the greatest feats. If Hamilton decides to extend his contract with Mercedes beyond F1 2023, it will once again be up to Mercedes to use Hamilton's flashes of brilliance as a stronger inspiration to get him back in the title chase. So, what do you think? Could Hamilton return to his former self, or are the best days in the rearview mirror? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.